Alright guys, we're back. I got a little time today, so I figured I'd continue on in this line nav series. Got the board behind me, so we're ready to go. Some of the things we're going to touch on: orienting your map, azimuths and back azimuths, methods of travel, and then intersection and resection. This is probably going to be broken down into 2 or 3 segments anyway, so it'll be like 4A, B, and maybe C if that's what it takes. I only get 10 minutes to do these, so stay with me. We're going to be back in a second. I want to get at it. Alright, so here we are, guys. Again, my map is of the Mount Greylock area in Western Mass. I think you can see there on the map again that red dotted line that cuts through is actually part of the Appalachian Trail right here. So one way to orient your map is by terrain association. So keeping in mind that land nav starts way ahead of time. So say we're planning this trip to Mount Greylock and we knew that we're coming up to the highest point at our benchmark 3487, and that's the top of the mountain. So we knew we were coming here. So if we took our map out and we were up on top here and we oriented the map, okay, if we're facing an easterly direction, knowing that all our contour lines are close and there's a steep drop off, like we said in the other video, of almost 1,000 feet from where we're standing to this 2,500 mark. So we're facing an easterly direction. We look over. And we can see what's called Ragged Mountain. Let me zoom out for you. Alright, so Ragged Mountain. Right here is a huge ridge line. Alright, again, if we're facing an easterly direction, we're at the highest point, we should be able to see this ridge line fairly easy. Now just to the north of that, if we looked up north, we have another hilltop here. I'll zoom back in for you. And that is Mount Fitch. And that's at 3,110 feet above sea level, so that's the elevation there. So zoom back out and I'll keep the pencil there for you. So there's Mount Fitch, and that's a fairly tall hilltop. Then we got a huge ridge line at Ragged Mountain, and this is where we're standing. So we could orient our map using terrain association and be fairly accurate with that, knowing where we're starting from. Alright, moving along. Another way to orient your map, I'm going to have to shift the camera here, is going back to our declination diagram. Zoom back in so you can see that. Alright, like we said, MN, which is magnetic north, is 15 degrees. So if we took our compass and the straight part of it, I have the Kaminga, so this left side of the compass is a straight edge also, and it actually has a measuring device on it. But if we took that compass and put it right on that magnetic north and then just shifted our map like such, our map is now oriented to the terrain in front of us. In the style compass that I'm using, again, the Kaminga military style, I don't know if you guys can see that, but obviously you've got the arrow here, and it's moving because of the pencil. the north facing arrow, and it's got that circle or elongated circle on it, which is going to illuminate for you at nighttime. If you can see that thin black line here, that's called a lubber line. That line does not move. Your north facing arrow obviously moves as you turn, and then on the bezel ring, which is this black ring around it, I have another illumination device here, and we'll get into that later when we're setting azimuths and stuff, but that also moves. So this black thin line, which is known as a lubber line, stays there. So once you orient the compass on a 15-degree magnetic north, and we get that north facing arrow in line with our lubber line, our map is now oriented to the terrain in front of us. Another way to do it, you could put it on grid north, the straight edge of your compass, and then spin your map the same way. The only difference being is you're going to want that lubber line, again the black thin line, keep hitting the camera on you guys, this black thin line, the lubber line, you're going to want that on 15 degrees. So you'd have to keep spinning it, and obviously your north facing arrow would be offset of that lubber line now. Let's see if I can zoom in on that compass for you guys. It looks like that's the best I'm going to get. Okay, so our compass on the declination diagram is on grid north or map north again. So you can see our lubber line, this black thin line, and I'm going to have to rotate that until I'm on 15 degrees, which is the little tick mark right before the 20, right there. And now your map is oriented as well. Another way to do it, I'll have to zoom out again for you. Is to actually put your straight edge of your compass on one of your north and south grid lines. And that's obviously grid north or map north. So you would do it the same exact way as we just did on the GN on your declination diagram. So stay with me. That's at least 4 ways to orient your map. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about azimuths real quick. So stay with me.